Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, the New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, soon to be joined by Rob, who's actually stuck in traffic here, trying to get back to come on to the show here from his lovely day at work. So gave it a couple minutes here, so he's not going to be too late, but wanted to start the show here for you guys here because we're later than usual. We're usually that 5-10 minutes late, people, but yeah, we're even definitely later than usual here, so want to get started. So obviously, guys, we did our show last night there. Rob was nice enough to go ahead and do the show without me because I had technical issues at the time here, but I'm back up and running fully. My new laptop that I just got here a couple months ago decided to shut off my mic for no apparent reason. And not much of a podcast show without a microphone. So today we are going to be going over with you guys a review of the secondary from last season, kind of going over what we thought of each player, what we think needs in the future for those positions there. Also going to go ahead and give you our Super Bowl picks here since we got that game coming just a couple of days. And of course, we're going to go over any news that happens to pop up about Eli Manning, because that is expected a decision on the announcement. I should say the decision's already made, but the announcement on whether or not Eli Manning will be getting to the Hall of Fame will be coming on, hopefully, while we're doing the show live here. We'll find out there. So if anybody hears the news before we announce it, feel free to pop it in the comments section so we can hear. I know there's already rumors that it's not going to happen, but until it does happen, I'm not going to believe any rumors. I've also seen rumors that it's going to happen. So, ain't over till it's over. So let's get right in talking about the Giants secondary. And of course, you got to start off with the biggest story of the year, I guess you could say, as far as the secondary goes. A first round pick that hasn't quite lived up to the hype yet, but on top of that has had some issues, and that's Deonte Banks. And listen, there's a whole slew of possibilities of what the exact issue he's having right now is, guys. I've said it on the show before. I'll say it again. I think the Giants put him out there before he was ready for CB1. Rob and I both weren't too high on the pick when the Giants first made it. We thought he was a second-round talent. And, that's not a knock either. Second-round talent is still better than most people that come out of the draft, We just thought he was drafted way too early for where the Giants had gotten him. Obviously, they liked him. They thought he was a good fit, especially for wings defense. But this year, he definitely had a regression. And he didn't necessarily have a great first year. He was a CB2 for most of the year, got exposed by a couple of the bigger name receivers in the division, and, went back to being a CB2 once Adoree Jackson came back from his injury. This year, he was, planted in as the CB1, and, yeah, things did not go well, that's for sure. 14 games overall, 52 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 12 passes deflected, and a forced fumble. Overall, a 50.9 PFF grade, 50.3 in coverage, 52.8 in run defense, and 70.4 as a pass rusher. Listen, guys, but it boils down to it. You're a cornerback. Your first and most important thing is how you are at covering. And he had a 50.3 coverage rate as the CB1. That's bad. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that's bad. You couple that with the issues he was having with the team, and the team did a pretty good job of kind of not letting anything be fully known as far as what the issues were. But obviously, we know he's called out by coaching staff, specifically Jerome Henderson, who's no longer on the team now. He was accused by media, including Rob and I, of not exactly, giving it his all effort-wise in the field. Obviously, the Eagles game, there was one play specifically that got, blown up big time there on social media because it was quite obvious he was dogging it. Listen, he's a young kid. He's got talent. I don't want to give up on him. I'm not there. I'm not there to give up on him because I still think he's a legitimate NFL player. I'm not sure how high the ceiling is, and that's why we didn't think he was a first-round pick to begin with. Thought he was a physically gifted corner that was a bit of a project overall. I think Rob and I have kind of been proven to be right on that one. But I'm not going to give up on somebody who was a first-round pick that we traded up for a couple of years ago, and somebody who has talent that he still could see. He's still going into his third year. But I'm going to sit there and say that if Deonte Banks is your corner one going into the Giants season in 2025, they messed up. Point blank, they messed up. And I'm not even saying to get another rookie or somebody in the draft like that. I mean, that's possible. Get Will Johnson or something like that if the quarterbacks are gone. But you got to get a veteran corner here. And I don't mean a Dory Jackson. We'll talk about it a little bit. I mean a legit, I can come in. I can be CB1 if you need me to. I can take the step back of CB2 if Banks steps up. I can train these guys, that kind of position, the veteran presence. A guy like Ward coming out of the 49ers, who's already been said point blank, he doesn't want to come back and play for the Niners. And not even because of the Niners or issues there, just he had a tragedy hit his family, and unfortunately, everywhere he goes, he kind of thinks about it because he's still in that city. Bad reason to be getting a free agent potentially, but listen, we need a corner. We need a guy who can legit come in as a CB1 and not necessarily a shutdown corner because there's not a lot of those. Those don't grow on trees. But at the very least, get a corner that is somebody who's not going to embarrass himself against better talent. Look at like Amari Cooper, for example, when the Giants played the Browns. He embarrassed Deonte Banks. And Amari Cooper did not have a great season, guys. Did not have a great season at all. Especially with his time with the Browns. But he went off versus the Giants. A lot of receivers went off versus the Giants. And we ran a gauntlet of great receivers. Don't get me wrong. He didn't exactly have an easy task. But Banks did not meet the task, that's for sure. And again, I blame the Giants on that one. He wasn't ready. It was quite obvious he wasn't ready. They forced the kid in that just wasn't ready. And what you do when you put people in a scenario not to succeed, like the Giants did, frustrations boil over. Issues pop out. Immaturity shows its way because you have a person, like, I'm not trying to be mean to like a younger guy, but he's not fully mature. And listen, at his age, we all thought we were. I get it. Like, there's probably people like at his age watching the show going, this old guy, get off my lawn. He's 23. Listen, if you're 23, you might not realize it yet, but give it 20 years when you're my age, because I'm 42, so just about there. And you'll go, damn, I was stupid when I was 23. Damn, I did stupid things. And I'm talking professionally, friend-wise, family-wise. There's so many things that we all do at that age that's just stupid. Because we're not fully grown up yet mentally. Because life hasn't happened. It's not that he's immature. I'm not trying to say something like that. Life hasn't happened enough. And I think that's the scenario. Is he got put into a really bad scenario and didn't deal with it well. It's hard for me to chastise somebody too much. Now that the season's over and we can reflect on it. The Giants did him wrong by making him a CB1. Point blank did him wrong by making him a CB1. And hopefully they rectify it this year coming up. Make him a CB2. And don't even guarantee him anything. Listen, you get a veteran coming in here, and you get a chance to get a Will Johnson, and you say, listen, that's fine. Will Johnson, Deonte Banks, you guys are battling out for CB2. There's nothing wrong with that. He did play bad enough this year that you can have the issues that you can sit there and say, it is what it is. But like I said, I think the Giants put him in a bad enough situation. I can't chastise him to the point where I'm saying I'm done with him. We invested too much into him. He's got the physical tools. Let's see if it comes out next year. But you got to protect yourself by having a legit person that can walk in there and be a CB1. And that if Banks earns it back, great. Great. No, seriously, great. That is perfect for the Giants. But you can't count on it. And you can't go into the season depending on that. Because you've already seen what's going to happen potentially. If everything stays as is, he's going to fall flat in his face again. And you know what happens when you let somebody fall in their face over and over again? You get Daniel Jones. You get somebody who never reaches their potential. for his own development, he's got to be a CB2 again. That's where he needs to be. So, all right. Next up, we got a rookie here that, guys, I got to say, stepped it up big time. Absolutely stepped it up. And that's Dru Phillips. And listen, he came on the scene, third-round pick, a guy that I thought was a little shocking of a third-round pick. And I'll say it point blank. I thought it was a shocking third-round pick. I thought it was a little early to get him. I thought he was a little bit of a project. All the physical tools, had some issues with the way his hips moved. Some of his flow was his footwork. You saw that on film when you watched it from coming out of Kentucky. I'm telling you, whew, what a difference a year makes for him. Completely exceeded expectations by far, to the point that when they do redrafts now, when the pundits like to come out because they're bored right now this time of year and go, let's go ahead and let's do a redraft of 2024 and say where things would have gone. Dru Phillips is going in the first round, guys. That's how good his season was. 14 games, 6 starts. And keep in mind, he's a slot corner. That's why he doesn't have a lot of starts. He was on the field a lot. 71 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 1 QB hit, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 interception. 77.5 PFF grade overall, guys. 75.8 in coverage, 78.1 in run defense, 66.9 in pass rush. Guys, I can't say enough good things about Dru Phillips and the season he's had. I really cannot. Here's a guy that I expected to come in and potentially compete for the slot corner spot. Potentially. And instead, he exceeded every expectation I think most of us had for him. And what's crazy is he didn't have the camp like, remember a couple of years ago, Trey Hawkins, the third, we'll talk about later on in the show. He came in and like local media was like, oh my God, this kid's good. Oh my God, this kid's good. He's going to be a starter. He's going to be great. He's going to do amazing things. National media came into the Giants camp. They were right. He's amazing. He's going to do good. He's going to do great. And he just falls flat in his face. He didn't get that kind of hype. But he came in and handled his business. Absolutely handled his business. And, not only did he do great things in coverage, but he did. I know the PFF grades are sometimes a little skewed. He did do a damn good job against the run. How many times do you see him run up and just smack full speed into the running back? Take him down. You saw that on a regular basis from him. He plays the perfect way for a slot corner because when you're a slot corner, keep in mind, you're taking somebody off the field to have that extra corner. And a lot of times it's a linebacker. So to have somebody playing the slot corner position that can go ahead and also help out and run support is a big thing. Most teams would dream about having that kind of thing. We got it in Dru Phillips. And if the first season of Dru Phillips is any indication of what kind of player he's going to be, because keep in mind, players typically get better over time, not worse. You never know. But yeah, that's, like I said, that's a hell of a rookie season. And like I said, you could sit there and say he potentially had the best rookie season of any Giant just because of what he did compared to expectations. Malik Neighbors, honestly, obviously had the best season overall for a rookie. But, you sit there and look at what Dru Phillips did for where he was drafted and what was expected of him. Big things were expected of Neighbors. Phillips, we would have been happy if he just became a starter, let alone a solid starter, which is what he became this year. So great season by him. And like I said, I'm definitely looking forward to see what he does this year coming up here. So do see you guys in the comments section, by the way. I see Saquon just won Player of the Year, Connor says. Deb says, not surprised about Saquon. And Connor says, just another blank you to Joe Shane. Yeah, exactly. So, now you got me down with bad news. Let's go back into the secondary, though. Next up, we got Adoree Jackson, who came back for another season. Whew. Guys, I'm telling you, I was shocked that Adoree Jackson came back. I really was. All the news coming out this past offseason was that the Giants were not very happy with his 2023 performance. Not just because he slipped, which, let's be honest, he didn't just slip. He fell down a few levels. He's nowhere near the player he was 2 years ago. But he had issues with, we talked about the dogging it with Banks. This guy definitely had issues with dogging it. Adoree Jackson was known for the guy that would just like whiff on tackles to running backs left and right. And he sat on free agency forever because when you don't show huge effort on some of those types of plays, and you throw in the declining skills, and you throw in the fact that people are thinking, okay, he got paid a lot of money the last time go around, he'll probably want some money. He didn't really get any attention. So the Giants pick him up really, really late. And let's be frank, they picked him up out of desperation. The Giants didn't pick him up because they thought Adoree Jackson had a ton left in the tank. They didn't pick him up because they thought Adoree Jackson was going to be great all around. They picked him up because they needed someone to play corner. They didn't have any solid veterans. They probably didn't have anybody solid at all. And Adoree Jackson, I got to say, I give the man credit, actually. He stepped up. He did what he could in a much more limited role than he's played in the past. And he did a little better than I expected, to be honest with you guys. 14 games overall, 5 starts, 28 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 5 passes deflected, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, a 69.0 PFF grade overall, 54.5 in coverage, 85.8 in run defense. And what I'm noticing there, and the film backs it up when you watch what he did, he actually did try to tackle people this year. He really did. It's almost like the Giants sat him down before they signed him and was like, you know what? Yeah, I got to sit there and say, you weren't going after the running back. You weren't going for the hit. You're avoiding it. You're making business decisions. We can't have that if we bring you back here. I got to think that conversation was had because he definitely took it to heart. Either that or somebody on his team, whether agent, whatever, said to him point blank, hey, this might be why. And like I said, he took it to heart. He definitely made a change. Now, 54.5 coverage grade is not great. Not great at all. And listen, to be honest, I think it's time to move on from Adoree Jackson. I don't think he's the answer as far as, being part of that cornerback room. But I also thought the last year. And at the same point, we can sit there and say he gave a lot more effort this year. He just doesn't have the talent left. Adoree Jackson's that guy that he counted on speed to get the job done. And that was pretty obvious by watching the way he played. He counted on speed. And he's had injuries every single year. He's missed time every single year. And he's just at that point now, I think, in his career where the injuries have added up to where he's just not the player he was. And that happens to the best of them. But especially when you have somebody who's very injury prone, that happens. So, like I said, I appreciate that fact that he gave a lot more effort this year. So I do think that's true. So I'm not even trying to be like a jerk about it. Be legit. Like, I appreciate it. As a Giants fan, it's nice to see that. I want to see people actually giving effort. But I think he's that guy that his time has passed him. And if you bring him back next year, you're bringing him back specifically to be a veteran presence in that corner room. And only the Giants and players on the locker room know if he brings enough value as a veteran leader to bring him in for that reason. We can't sit there and say that because we're not there in the locker room. We're not there in the conversations. And I don't hear much about how he is in the locker room as far as that. Some players, like guys like Slayton, you hear about it nonstop. You see it with Dexter Lawrence, the way he talks to the media. You don't really hear that with Adoree Jackson. And if that value is not there, it's time to move on. Just time. So, all righty, next up. One of the most polarizing players, I feel like, on the Giants roster. And for part of it, part of his career there, one of the most polarizing players in the NFL. Because people keep thinking this guy's good, and he's not good, guys. I'm going to say it right now. He's not good. And that's Isaiah Simmons, who saw a hugely decreased role this year, guys. Hugely decreased. 17 games, just one start. Keep in mind, all the issues we had, all the injuries we had, just one start. And I got to list him even as a corner this year, not even a linebacker like we did in the past, because that's where the Giants list him as, a corner. Like a slot corner. You just call him just a DB in general at this point, I guess. I don't know. And that's the problem. No one still knows what to call him. He's been in the league enough years now, guys. Anyway, 21 tackles, 1 QB hit, 2 passes deflected, 1 forced fumble. 45.6 PFF grade. That's bad. He's kind of known as the jack of all trades, but there's nothing he really did very well. 43.6 coverage grade, 61.5 run defense, 52.9 pass rusher. None of the aspects of the game was he great at. And this is why I've said all along with Isaiah Simmons. Now listen, guys, I don't mind having Isaiah Simmons on the roster per se. But I think the way they used him this year is probably the right way to do it in a lot of respect, because he's not a good player to where you want him as a starter or somebody you're counting on. But to have a guy on your bench that can sit there and play linebacker, play edge, play slot corner, play safety, especially with all the injuries the Giants have had, not a bad thing. But you can't count on him. So this year he got downgraded big time in playing time. So he played just 17% of defensive snaps, down from 33 last year. Went from 49% of special teams plays down to 33% there as well. Like I said, this is why, and it's funny because Debbie just put this comment up as I'm thinking it. She says, comparison is made of Simmons and Travis Hunter in the sense of will the Giants figure out what to do with them? I don't think it's a figure out what to do with him, because I've heard that as well. And not just with the Giants, just in general, like Travis Hunter is difficult. People got to figure out how to use him because he's kind of, a guy who plays multiple spots, and people have brought up the Isaiah Simmons thing. Isaiah Simmons, the issue with him is not that the Giants don't know how to use him. It's that no one knows how to use him. He doesn't fit into any spots well. He fits into a lot of spots okay. That's not good. And he's still living off the hype from coming out of Clemson. People still think he's going to be this amazing player. Oh, if somebody knows how to use him, he'd be amazing. No. If he was going to be amazing, if he was going to be even above average, that would have happened by now, guys. He's been in the league for years now. He's played slot corner. He's played linebacker. He's played safety. He's played even an outside corner. He's played edge. He's played all these positions. And he's not great at any of them. So like I said, if you want to bring him back for a minimum deal like you did this year, then go for it. But you can't expect big things of him. And if you're hearing people talk about the comparisons, like Deb mentioned about Simmons and Hunter, because again, I've heard it. You got to realize the difference. Simmons doesn't have a home. He's basically homeless on the field. They living out of a refrigerator box. He doesn't fit anywhere. Travis Hunter fits 2 places. That's the difference between the two. He's a receiver and a corner. Whereas Simmons is a guy that can't play corner, can't play linebacker great, can't play edge great, can't play safety great, can't play any other spots great. But he plays them to a certain level of adequacy. Adequacy isn't good enough to win you a lot of games, guys. It's good enough to win you a spot on the bench. And that's pretty sad. And this is probably where he should be the rest of his career. So many people have given him this shot to try to be good. He can't take it because he's just not good enough to be good. So, and listen, there's no shame in that. He's already been in the league for enough years where he's already surpassed the average player. It's not like he's an absolute bust with no talent whatsoever. I'm not trying to just dog on him here. It's just he's not good enough to do what people thought he could do. 5 years in this league, guys. At this point, we know what he is. That's what it is. We know what he is. So, I do think we'll have Rob here in a minute, by the way, guys. I do see him already online sharing the video here at his people. So, next up, as we wait for his arrival, another surprise from a couple of years ago in the draft, though. Cordell Flott, who will always be known to me as the guy we took way too early a couple of years ago in the 3rd round, when the guy was projected to be a 5th round pick by a lot of people. That's one of those moves that gets you fired as a GM, unless you're the Giants GM, because we just keep them for continuity reasons. 14 games, 10 starts, 53 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 interception, and 7 passes deflected. A 62.2 PFF grade overall, 61.7 coverage grade, 58.4 run defense, and 68.8 pass rush. Guys, this is someone who I feel like did a little more than I expected this year. I'll put it that way. Did a little more. But he's a guy that, listen, if you got to count him in to start 10 games, something went wrong. Something went wrong. And in this case here last year, it's because the Giants didn't go get a starting corner. For whatever reason, like Deonte Banks has it, we'll figure out the second guy and we'll be fine. They just ignored the position practically. So Cordell Flott got a lot of extra playing time. And he's not a bad backup. He's not a starter. And for more than half the games, he's your starter. There's a big issue there, guys. So I like him around as a backup. I still will, every time we bring him up, say he was drafted way too early because he was. 3rd round pick should be a starter for you. He's not a starter. He was, if he would have been a 5th round draft pick like he should have been, you look at this, okay, we got a quality depth piece at a 5th round pick. That's a win. That's a win. But you got him in the 3rd round. So I got to bring it up because this is the issue I have with Joe Schoen. It just makes these crazy decisions at that point there. But yes, it could be worse. I mean, we got Josh Azudu in the 3rd round too. He's shouldn't be on the roster anymore at all. So, Cordell Flott's a better pick than that, I guess. But like I said, hopefully we have him around for a few years as a backup. Hopefully we have enough people that are legit starters at the corner position next season. Like I said, go get a guy, maybe draft another guy, and we don't have to count on Cordell Flott then. We can have him as a backup. We can have him a guy we bring in on nickel and dime packages. He sits in the bench, plays special teams. You bring him in during cases of cases of injuries. Which, let's be honest, the Giants, we always get injuries. That's where it's at. So, before we go on to our next guy, because we do have a couple more corners to talk about here before we get into the safeties, we got to bring on the man, the myth, the legend himself, Eli Manning. No, I'm kidding. No, Eli Manning is not here. We do have Rob here. Oh, yes, we do.
Chad Powers, think fast, be fast. I mean, it's a me. I'm Rob. I'm going to act like a Chad Powers now. Think fast, be fast.
I just made you seem like a consolation prize.
Yeah, right? Wow.
There was like, it's not Eli Manning at all.
You got a big enough nose.
Does Eli Manning have a bigger nose?
Well, it's hidden by his big forehead.
Wow.
I get a big forehead too.
Wow. Self-deprecating while making fun of him at the same time. I see. That's messed up.
We're talking about similarities.
All right, let's get our next corner here with Devon Wilson here. We're getting into the scrubs here, the guys that TLC would not have been a fan of. 3 games overall, 5 tackles, 1 pass deflected, 55.8 PFF grade, 52.3 coverage grade, 65.9 run defense grade. They didn't even give a pass rush grade for him because he wasn't on the field long enough. Took only 26 defensive snaps, guys. 21 special team snaps. This was just a back end guy we got because of all the injuries we had. And The Giants want to bring him into camp, see what he did. See if we give him a chance to maybe make the team next year. I'm okay with that. But if you bring him in, he's probably just a camp body. That's all he should be. As I can see, Rob is distracted by the comment section. I can see your eyes scrolling through. We will get to them later on as everybody's discussing the draft and all. But
my forehead.
and your forehead. But like I said, I think Wilson's that guy at this point there. You bring him in if you want to bring him in to be another guy to potentially make the roster, but not promise him anything, then fine. But if you're bringing him in for anything else, let's look at all the injuries we had. Look at all the injuries we've had. He got 26 defensive snaps.
Yeah.
I think it tells you all you need to know. Better football player than you or I, but a much worse football player than a lot of the people that are potentially available to go on the roster.
Yeah.
So
practice squad's all right, but
exactly. That's fine too. I'd be fine with that. Yeah. He knows the defense. He's been his second year in it. So that's fine. So all right. Next up. Art Green. Who I swear it doesn't even sound like a football player's name. Like there's certain things you hear a name and you're like, that guy does this for a living. I wouldn't go Art Green, football player. It just doesn't sound like Art Green, librarian.
It sounds like an old-timey name.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see here, Art Green's in the room. He's gonna get under this. He's a PI. Art
Green's
PI
making gin and tonics over there.
Yeah. Hey, this is a speakeasy over here.
Anyway, 9 games, 7 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, a 48.1 PFF grade, guys. It's not very good. Not very good at all. 49.7 coverage grade, 48.1 run defense, and 56.2 on the pass rush. What's crazy is a lot of the corners we have, their pass rush is their best trade according to PFF. That's not good. Just throwing that out there. That's not good. He falls in the same category as Wilson we talked about earlier. If you want to bring him in to be a camp body, fine. But if he's getting any significant time, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
All it boils down to. That's simple. That cut and dry, guys. So, one more corner to go. Then we'll get on to our safeties. For safety purposes, of course. Greg Stroman Jr. And this was the guy that, listen, we brought him in. Remember, he played a significant amount of time when Deonte Banks got, sat down versus the Steelers. This is a guy I'm kind of intrigued by. And I'm not intrigued by him to be a big role. Don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting anything like that. What I'm saying is, I feel like we could go ahead and get this guy a spot to be like the bottom level kind of backup on this roster. And I'm okay with that. Overall, 4 games, 1 start, 10 tackles, 63.1 PFF grade, 59.4 coverage grade, 62.8 run defense, and a 78.7 pass rush grade. Not horrible numbers. I can't sit there and say he got a ton of playing time, obviously. But this is a guy that, listen, if you're going to carry, let's say, 5 corners in the roster, this could be your 5th corner. And I'd have no problem with that whatsoever. I'm much more concerned with the guys 1 through 4.
Yeah.
That's where we have some more issues we've already discussed here. But, this is a guy that, I think we can look at that and say, maybe that's where we go. Maybe that's where we go. Just keep him out as a bottom end guy. Bring in some of the people just in case someone gets hurt or whatever. Like we already talked about, like the Greens and the Wilsons of the world. But Greg Stroman, I think, showed me just enough to say maybe he has the ability to be a bottom end roster guy or even a practice squad guy.
Yeah, like that tier, like bring him up when need be. Like maybe you just hold on to him for a few weeks and then drop him down. Bring him up, depending on the situation teams are playing in the stretch. Like he didn't look terrible when he played covered for Banks.
No, that's what I'm saying. Don't be right. He didn't look great. I'm not suggesting we bring him in and give him a chance to start, but
yeah, exactly.
Bottom level guy, you could do worse. I'm okay with it. I'm good. Alrighty, guys, let's pay the bills real quick, and then we'll get into the safeties.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
All righty, guys, and let's get into those safeties, and then afterwards we will definitely be getting to your comments. So I got to say, you guys showing a lot of back and forth today, which I love. Don't get me wrong. But we're probably not going to do every single comment because a lot of it's just you all chatting back and forth. So, but let's get into the comments here. Tyler Newman, first one here, going to the safeties. And listen, when we drafted him, you and I both said this was the best safety in the draft, and we were happy to get him. And we thought he was as good a replacement in that draft you could get for Xavier McKinney. That's not to say he's going to be Xavier McKinney. He wasn't Xavier McKinney. Let's be very frank in that right off the bat.
Well, Xavier McKinney was, absolute stud. And you can't ask that from a rookie.
You probably can't even ask that of Xavier McKinney next year, to be honest with you.
No.
So,
even if he lands a spot where he was between his Giants best year and last year, McKinney was top 4-3. Where do you finish as the safety ranking?
I think at this point number 1, considering all the interceptions and all he had there. I hate to say it that way because we lost him. But yeah, like I said, that's where we're at here. So I'll take him. I think he had a very good rookie year. I'm not sitting there going to say he's ever going to replace Xavier McKinney's talent level. But 13 games, 98 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflected, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, a 65.6 PFF grade, 58.1 coverage, 76 in the run defense, and a 60.7 in the pass rush. He didn't do anything bad.
As a freshman, he looked fantastic.
I don't want to say fantastic, though. I feel like he had let me put it this way. I feel like he had a lot of tackles because our run defense was bad. And they got through the first couple levels, and then the safety was able to get the tackles. And, again, 13 games. So you figure you're a little bit over half, 2/3 of the season at that point. And you got 98 tackles. So, he would have had 130 some odd tackles probably if they played the whole season. You don't want your safety getting that many tackles. That means that nobody else at the first 2 levels stopped the guy he had to stop.
Yeah.
I listen, I'm okay with him getting where he got.
I was saying, but that's not his fault.
No, and it's not his fault. But what I'm saying is I feel like his stats are inflated because of that. What we got him to be was a ball hawk, which is what he was in Minnesota. And he didn't have any interceptions whatsoever. And I'm not giving up on him as far as that. I'm not saying he can't do it going forward. But I'm just saying I wouldn't say it's a terrific rookie season for him overall. But I would say it's a very good one.
Yes.
I feel like that's just where I'm at. Is this he had a very good rookie season. I'm curious what he does going forward. I'm excited for what he potentially could do going forward. But to me, he's got to step it up as far as the interceptions for me to sit there and say the pick was worth it. A 2nd round pick we got in this guy. And you got to go ahead and get a guy in the 2nd round who's a legit starter. Look at the guys we've got in the 2nd round. Xavier McKinney, classic example. Guys that one of the best safeties, if not the best in the league right now, based on this past year. Landon Collins. Landon Collins was a Pro Bowler with the Giants. That's not the season Newman had. So, and that's not to say his fault that he's getting compared to these guys. That's just based on Giants' recent history of 2nd round safeties. This is based on the guy he has to literally replace. So it's not necessarily fair to him, but that's how we're going to look at it. Because that's what we all do. Okay, we downgraded at this position. But we also still have a guy at that position who had a very good rookie season. Both statements can be true.
Yes, 100%. And, he shows a lot of potential for growth.
Yes. Well,
So
like I said, he's got a lot of talent coming out. We expected big things from him. We were very, very happy with this pick. And it's funny because you found in the Hard Knocks that they didn't even want him. They wanted a corner in the second round. He was kind of their. This is the dangers of Hard Knocks. Like you found out he wasn't even the guy they wanted. Imagine getting drafted by a team and then finding out you were their second choice or third choice.
Or how Shane twisted around about the jiu-jitsu who played. Listen, I knew that was going on Hard Knocks. We want you the whole time.
Yeah.
We would have said that. You would have been gone.
Be embarrassing watching that if I was him. But like I said, expecting big things from Tyler Newman. Excited to see what he's going to bring to the table next year. And I'm really hoping he gets put into a position because part of it was that, again, you're doing so much run defense because nobody else can stop the run, apparently. Not only get a lot of tackles, but you get less chances to go get interceptions because people run the ball on you nonstop. I want to see him in more of that center field kind of position like he did play more in Minnesota because he could play either one. But he's the only guy we have that can play that center field spot, at least as of now, unless things change in the offseason. So, speaking of things that could change in the offseason, we got our other starter at the safety position there. And that's Jason Pinnock, who's going to be a free agent, guys. So, who knows if he's coming back or not next year. I would say definitely a down year for him compared to what he did last year for us. 16 games, 85 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 3 QB hits, and 1 pass deflected. 54.5 PFF grade, guys. 45.5 in coverage, 59.5 in run defense, and 92.3 in pass rush, which is just insane. We just put him in an edge rusher.
You might as well at that point.
Exactly. But no. Like I said, it was a down year for him. I really think that, and I think it's kind of going to help for the Giants to potentially get him back if they want to bring him back without spending a ton of money. Like we said, we lost Xavier McKinney because of money. We also lost Julian Love because of money. We've lost some safeties because of money recently. Jason Pinnock is not going to necessarily be that one. But here's the other thing. I wouldn't bring him back with any guarantee of starting. I would not. I think if you can have a duo of him and Dane Belton as your backups, we'll talk about a little bit there. That's a nice bench for your safeties. And then I would want to bring another guy in to start at the other safety position. You know, he didn't come in with a lot of hype. Obviously, you know, being cut by the Jets, that's how we got him. Being cut by the Jets is not good. But he had a really good year last year for him. I'm not trying to overplay the season he had, but to come in as somebody that was cupping of the team and just walk in and go ahead and get the starting safety job, that's good. That's impressive. Shows a lot of who you are character-wise. But he definitely took a step back this year. And you can't sit there and guarantee he's going to take a step forward again next year, regardless of what happens around him, what happens with the defense. Because it very well could be a fluke year he had that 1 year. And if you look at the kind of hype he had and the kind of, you know, what he showed you prior with his time with the Jets and all, you can't blame a team for thinking that's probably was just his best season. He had that one season.
Yeah, that ball in season.
But again, not a bad guy to have as a backup. And if you're in a pinch, you need him to start, it's not the end of the world. But I think that's the spot the Giants definitely should be looking at there. That's for sure. All right, next up, Dane Belton. Tale of two safeties is what he is at this point. This is the guy that, you know, when everything is going right and a big play happens, Dane Belton always is that guy that seems like he's there.
I'll be there.
But when something goes bad on the field and he's on the field at that time, 9 times out of 10, he's right there where that whatever bad happened. He's been a part of such big plays, positive and negative, that he's so hard to judge. He really is. 17 games this season, which first off, an accomplishment for a Giant to play the whole season.
Yeah.
16 starts. 6 starts, not 16. I'm sorry. 6 starts, 56 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 sack, 1 QB hit, 1 interception, 6 passes deflected, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. 62.5 PFF grade, 61.3 coverage grade, 62.9 in the run defense, and 57.2 pass rush. Now, keep in mind, he got a good amount chunk of his games there because of the fact that Tyler Newman was out. So that was a good part of of what he got there. I got to say that I think Dane Belton outplayed Jason Pinnock this year personally. I really do. And I'm not saying that either one of them should start. But I'm saying if the Giants hypothetically don't bring in somebody at the safety position, is continue with the status quo, then the Giants should go ahead and let these two battle it out. Don't give them either one the job. Bring Pinnock back. Let him and Dane Belton fight it out. Or maybe you flip-flop back and forth depending on what you're doing. Do a little in and out there.
I think that would be the move.
But neither one of them are good as starters, I feel like. I feel like they go into the realm of adequate. Like, you're not going to lose because of those guys necessarily, unless Dane Belton does one of those boneheaded plays. But you're also not going to win because of those guys, unless Dane Belton does some weird, crazy. He's like the Jameis Winston of safeties.
That's a great analogy. Yeah.
But he is. But because, like I said, I can't tell you how many times he makes a play. It's an interception, fumble. Like, he's that guy who's just always around when good things happen. But I can't tell how many times I've seen him make bad cuts, and all of a sudden it gives a big play up on defense. It's so hard to judge him because of that. It really is. Because what you think of him is going to depend on how much good big plays he makes or how much bad big plays he makes. And you never know week to week what he's going to do. You never do. This is why he needs to be on the bench. This is why we need to get a starter, a legit starter, to go along with Tyler Newman at the safety position in this offseason. But we have so many holes, you can't fill them all. Just can't do it. So
there's only so many holes you fill.
Exactly. There's a lot of jokes we can make there, but we're a mature show. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it.
Two giant goofballs.
Yes. We're definitely not going to make any jokes, but giant holes to fill.
Insert
immature.
Comment there.
Immature. We would not do that. Yes. We would not just explode with laughter.
No, we definitely wouldn't. We definitely wouldn't get really stiffed, really worked up trying to talk about filling these holes.
Yes, we would not. We would not. We would not get all worked up and excited about it.
No.
Yep. I mean, it's hard definitely not to, but we're not going to. Next up,
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
Anthony Johnson Jr. 9 games on the season, 5 tackles, 1 pass deflected, 67.2 PFF grade, 74.1 in coverage, 43.2 run defense, 71.9 pass rush, just 21 snaps though on defense, guys, and 113 on special teams. Again, this guy goes into that category of, if you want to bring him into camp to be a camp body, as a guy who's learned the defense, and go in with his leg up on people. Because of that, bring him in. But if he's anything more than a practice squad guy, I'm probably not happy.
Yeah.
Something went wrong then.
Definitely agree.
Yeah. One last guy here before we get into our Super Bowl picks here.
Oh.
Raheem Lane. Another guy, again, not a lot of playing time, guys. And probably for a good reason. If you're on the Giants in 2024 and you can't see the field, something you're not doing right. There's a talent level issue. Considering all those different issues we had on the field. And you couldn't get in.
Yeah.
With all those holes, you couldn't get in.
Listen, he's acting like it's not like he's playing on the weekend or something. This is a Monday night. Listen,
what?
When you fill in the holes, I don't know. Usually it's on the weekend.
You're just filling holes as they're needed. Okay.
Yeah.
2 games, 3 tackles, 67.9 PFF grade, 65 in coverage, 62.2 in run defense. Just 22 snaps on defense, guys. 10 on special teams. At least Anthony Johnson Jr., we talked about a minute ago, gave you 113 snaps on special teams and gave you some more work there. Raheem Lane just didn't get much time. And if you can't get time with the Giants in 2024 on defense with all the injuries we had,
you deserve to be a Giant.
You are not good. So sorry, Raheem Lane, but you are the weakest link.
Yeah.
It's time to
goodbye.
I don't even want to see him in camp. That's how bad it was there for me. You couldn't get time on the playing field with this roster. I don't need you. I don't see any reason to hold on for one more day.
Yeah. Should hold on loosely.
Don't let go. Anyway. All right, guys. Let's get into our Super Bowl picks here. Because it's the last chance we get to go ahead and give our thoughts on an NFL game this season. I know you probably can't believe the season is over, but this is the last one, guys. And we're going into it now with season being over, but with the chance for Rob and I to still battle it out for the postseason supremacy here. You're up by 4. You have to be wrong in every pick, and I have to be right in every pick.
Do you need the trifecta? Yeah.
I need a trifecta, and you'd have a zero-fecta. So you're probably going to beat me this for the overall. But we're sitting at on the year. I have 542 points, and you have 507. So I'm pretty confident I'm going to win this year. But I'm pretty confident you're going to win the postseason. I told you, I'm the Detroit Lions of football picks here, apparently. Obviously, this Sunday, the 9th, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when the game will be. Chiefs at the Eagles. The Eagles are getting a point and a half in this. The Eagles are getting a point and a half in this. The Chiefs are just slightly favorites in this. And we got a 49 for the over-under. And yeah, guys, I feel like
you ever see the Batman and the Dark Knight Rises?
Of course, I've seen every single comic book movie known to man, basically. I can't think of this one that I
have. What a lovely singing voice. That's what I want to win.
What?
You see the Dark Knight Rises?
I'm confused on the analogy where you're at here.
I don't want any team to win. I just want the football. I want the stadium to implode.
Oh, you're talking about the Heinz Ward.
Yeah.
When he was in the there at Heinz Field.
Yeah,
Heinz.
Returning the kick.
Yeah. I mean, listen. We're Giants fans. Obviously, we're rooting for the Chiefs. There's no doubt about it. We're rooting for the Chiefs. Right? Rob, am I crazy for saying that about you?
I am reluctantly. If this game get in a tie, I would be happy.
Why reluctant? I don't understand it, but hating the Chiefs. I really don't get it.
Oh
no, they win. I'm jealous.
It's not so much to win. I feel like
all they do is win.
I'm bitter because I really want the Bills to be in there, and
they say yeah.
And I feel like the Bills should have been in the game. But that's besides the point. There's other things about that, but anyway. I want the Chiefs to win.
Yeah.
I don't want to see guys, if you don't have work on Monday, you play yourself a nice drinking game. Every time Taylor Swift's up in the box, you see her do whatever, take a shot.
Yeah, listen, I want Saquon to have a good game. Because I don't hate Saquon. We're not the show that hates Saquon. But I want the Chiefs to win. I want Jalen Hurts to be exposed for the bad quarterback he is. I know that's a Giant fan saying he's a bad quarterback, and I know people are like, oh, look at your quarterback. That doesn't make him good, because our suck doesn't make Jalen Hurts better all of a sudden. He's not good.
Do we say, because a lot of Eagle fans, he's the best of the division? That wasn't saying much. I mean,
he's also not anymore.
Yeah, he's not anymore. So that's what I was about to say. It's not saying much after this year, but Yeah, competition was DJ and Dak. Like, that's really not that hard. You just have to be average.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And that's what he is. It's not that he's horrible. He's just average. He is what he is. And he's going against the very best quarterback in the entire NFL. And I know he didn't have the greatest season as he typically, does, but it's still the best quarterback in the entire NFL. So
you could argue saying of this generation.
It's not even an argument at this point. I feel like since Tom Brady has retired, he is that guy.
Yeah. And the Chiefs are the new Patriots. Like, they're just going to be that kind of team where they're going to be really good for years to come.
So I'm going to say the Chiefs are going to win. I'm going to say they're going to cover because 1.5 points is not going to make or break me. And I'm going to say the under on the 49 points, guys. People forget how good this Chiefs defense is. They really do. And it's disrespectful to the defense how much they don't get looked at. And I get it. You don't have Patrick Mahomes. You're not dating Taylor Swift. It's not as flashy as Kelsey and Mahomes and Hopkins. Even you could throw him in there. He was a late addition, obviously from Tennessee, with a long career that's been very good. But this defense doesn't get enough attention, and I think this defense is going to really stifle the offense. And if there's one guy who can stop Saquon Barkley, it's Steve Spagnuolo. Steve Spagnuolo is the guy who can do it. So, who you got?
I mean, you'd be silly unless you live in that Philadelphia metro area. I'm pretty sure most of the United States in the world are going to pick the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm among one of those people. You have to respect the talent of, we just said, generational talent. You have to respect Andy Reid as an amazing head coach. You have to respect Spagnuolo stopping Barkley. Like we said, I also think, they will cover because, like you said, 1.5 points means absolutely nothing in this game. You're talking like a field goal difference. Unless it's like one of those 20 to 21 games, which I don't think it's going to be like that. I do think it's going to be very low scoring first half. But I do think, and it's no disrespect to the Kansas City Chiefs defense, but I do think things will start getting a little more scory, if you will, in the second half. Because it's not just Barkley that have to stop. You still got Brown. You still got weapons. And Jalen Hurts, like we say, he's average. She's just slightly above average, but he's still like an average quarterback. So he can still make plays happen with a good offensive line. So yeah, defense is going to come out on both sides, play good football because, like we just said, Mahomes had an off year this year, but he's still playing ball. They're still running the ball pretty well. And I think the Chiefs win, and I think they win in the over against the spread as well.
So you think the over? So I think I'm with Jay here. I see him in the comments here. Make Hurts beat you. That's it. And I think that's exactly what the Eagles are going to do. They're going to force them to throw the ball. And I don't think it's going to go very well. I really don't. And
I don't think he's a terrible quarterback, but
yeah, he's not horrible, and I'm not trying to say that. But he's not nearly the quarterback that Mahomes is.
No, but you can't take away. I mean, you could also argue that Hurts has better receiving core.
He has a better receiving core. He's got a better running back. He's got a better offensive line. He's got
so
not bad in Kansas City either, but
I mean, you could they're comparable. But when you sit there, and both quarterbacks have wheels, they both can run outside the pocket and extend plays and make things happen. So I do think the defense is going to be on the field hammering down a lot in the first half. Those guys are going to get tired. I think there's going to be a few more scores in the second half, which will be enough to put in the over. I'm not saying it's going to be like a 35 to 40 game, but I mean, you turn around, you get yourself like a 24 to 27 game, you're in the over.
Yeah, like I said, to me, it's just, I think it's going to be low scoring. We'll see. It'd be more exciting if it wasn't, but I think it's going to be a low scoring game. So, alrighty, guys. I said we're going to get to your comments here. And we'll still get to some of them here, but we do got to break the bad news to you guys. Eli Manning was not inducted into the class here for the 2025 Pro Football Hall of Fame. Absolutely ridiculous. Listen, before we get, because I know we're going to get on a rant here in a minute, I want to at least acknowledge the people that did get into the Hall of Fame. Jarrett Allen got into the Hall of Fame, former Chiefs, Vikings, Bears, Panthers. But I mean, let's be honest, he's mostly known for his time with the Vikings and the Chiefs overall. Former Packers wide receiver Sterling Sharp, who becomes now along with Shannon Sharp, the first brothers that are in the Hall of Fame together. Should be another set of brothers. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Former Eagles, Saints, and Raiders cornerback Eric Allen, and former Chargers tight end Antonio Gates. Listen, guys, there's a lot. I do want to say real quick, there's a lot of good in Sterling Shepard being in there. I'm a big fan of him getting in. I think he should have been in a long damn time ago. People forget how good he was, and I think Tony Baselli getting in is what kind of gave him that ability to get in, because he was the best wide receiver of his generation, basically, for that time that he was great. Even you can make the case he was better than Jerry Rice, even when they played the same exact time. Again, not for their career, but in the peak of their career at that point there. The guy literally, we're talking like early 90s, when you can still do the stuff that you could do to receivers, not that now. 1,400 yards in 92, 1,200 yards in 93, 1,100 yards in 94, another 1,400 yards in 89, another 1,100 yards in 90. I mean, the guy literally played for only 7 years and had 8,134 yards.
Yeah.
Had to retire at 29 years old, guys.
Had a rougher go at it.
Yeah, like absolutely amazing. So like I said, I just want to say that because that's the long time coming there. But let's get on to Eli, because that's some BS. Point blank, that's some BS. And I think the guy who went in over him, that I think kind of blocked that move, and kudos to him as well, because he honestly should have been a while ago as well. Jared Allen. I think Jared Allen is the guy who took the spot that Eli would have had. And we talked about this. It's hard to get in as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Really is hard to come in as a first ballot Hall of Famer. So I still think Eli's going to get in. I really do. But I hate that mentality. Oh, it's a first ballot Hall of Famer. This means something special. You either are or you aren't, goddammit.
Yeah.
You either are or you aren't. And instead, you got a guy now who has, I know people say, oh, all he has is his Super Bowl rings. I don't care if all he has is Super Bowl rings. He also has top 10 stats across the board for the NFL. He also has one of the most impressive Ironman streaks ever for a starting quarterback. And, by the way, he beat Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl. Super Bowl MVPs at that.
Yeah.
Like, people just love to sit there and talk trash about his career, and they love to bring up Jim Plunkett. Now, listen, I don't pretend to be able to be the best person to compare those two, because I wasn't around when Jim Plunkett played.
Yeah.
If anybody's around the 70s and the early 80s and wants to talk about it, feel free to compare. But that's the one I keep saying comparison-wise, because the guy also has 2 Super Bowl rings and he's not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But he also only has 1 Super Bowl MVP. He also didn't have 2 of the most iconic catches in the Super Bowl. He also didn't get the record for all-time, passing yards in a single postseason. Eli Manning got those records. Eli, the guy that just decided it's not good enough for the Hall of Fame this year. And I said, he'll get in, guys. He will absolutely get in. but it's absolute BS that Eli Manning is not going to the Hall of Fame this year. And I feel bad for the guy because we've talked about it before. Beyond what he did on the field, for everything that man has done for the sport, he should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He said he's got like $500 million. I can't feel sorry for him. I still can. He may have different problems than we do, but we all got problems.
Yeah.
You don't got 99 problems, but the Hall of Fame is now one.
Mm.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, guys. So I guess class of 2026, hopefully for Eli.
Let's go, Eli.
And this is one of those things we've talked about it before. The Giants have a ton of Hall of Famers, guys. A ton of Hall of Famers. But there are some guys in there that point blank should be. We could have a whole class of just Giants. Just Giants that aren't in the Hall of Fame that should be.
It's pretty sad.
Eli Manning. Tom Coughlin. Carl Banks. Jimmy Patton. Also make the case for Leonard Marshall, but he's kind of borderline. And that one doesn't upset me as much. He's borderline. No disrespect to him. It's still, even saying you're borderline Hall of Famer is still a goddamn impressive career.
It's still a compliment.
But him and Banks both got the, oh, you played with Lawrence Taylor, so you're not as good as we think you are. Curse. And now Eli got the curse of the Giants and what the Giants did to the latter part of his career. Because I know everybody loves to sit there and say, oh, he's a 500 quarterback for his career.
And it all came in the second half of his career when, well, first 2 seasons weren't good either. But that's to be expected as well when you're coming out of the draft and you put the season on your rookie quarterback's back.
Most quarterbacks, though, wouldn't have nowhere near a 500 record with that team. Most quarterbacks would never sniff the postseason, let alone win 2 Super Bowls with the amount of help he had. And other people love, oh, he had the greatest defenses. No, that wasn't all-time great defenses, guys. They had a good pass rush. They didn't have, name me the corners they had that were so spectacular. And I feel like I'm being disrespectful to the players that were there because they were good. They were good. Don't get me wrong. These are not all-time great corners.
Yeah.
Name me a linebacker they had besides Antonio Pierce. Chase Blackburn is probably the most popular second linebacker. And he's mostly a special teamer.
Yeah.
Just saying. As Jay says, Corey Webster, Terrell Thomas were good. They were good, exactly. Good, not great. I feel like people think he had this amazing 85 Bears defense. 86 Giants defense. The 2001 Ravens defense, whatever the one was with Ray Lewis when they won the Super Bowl. Like, that's not what they had. He had good defenses with great pass rushers. And I'm telling you right now, if you switched out Ben Roethlisberger or Phillip Rivers into that scenario, neither one of them have a ring right now. Neither one of them have a ring right now. That's how good he was. But he gets disrespected point blank because what the Giants did in the second half of his career. And you know what? I'll say it. He never will. And that speaks volumes for who he is.
Yeah.
Because point blank, most people would sit there flipping out when they're given the offensive lines he was given, the lack of weapons he was given, obviously leading up to OBJ coming in. But I guess they're not taking that into consideration. He's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm sick of that BS. You're a Hall of Famer or you're not, guys. You're a Hall of Famer or you're not. Again, no disrespect to the guys that got in. I have not a single issue with the guys that got in. But don't tell me he's not a Hall of Famer. And he better be one next year. Point blank. So, all right.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of a rant there. A little bit of a rant.
A little bit.
All right, guys. Let's see. Let's go through some of the comments here real quick. We'll go quick. Let's see through here. Jason Simmons sucks. Yes, he does. Hirsch for real. Giants are drafting quarterback. I want Cam, but I feel like it's going to be Shador. It's going to be Shador. I'm telling you right now. Shador Sanders will be a Giant.
Yeah.
Unless somebody trades up to beat out the Giants. And then this is Jay talking about Simmons. He said people love him because of the athletic profile and that they got him cheap. No role, no impact. Exactly. Let's see here. We talked about that one already there. Connor says they need a line can get a free agent quarterback or late in the draft like Purdy. If you're counting on Brock Purdy, Connor, good luck.
Oh, he's saying get one late in the draft like Purdy. Well, Purdy's like one of those, like, he's not – that's not a common thing to happen.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're counting on going to get Mr. Relevant to be your starting quarterback for the next few years, you're going to be doomed for disaster. But, I mean, we're Giants fans. We're used to being doomed for disaster.
Yeah.
That's basically where we're at. Hirsch for real says Madonna singing like a virgin is like the Pope singing just a gigolo. Wait, what? Oh my gosh. Let's see here. Jay says Flot's an NFL player will have a 6 to 7 year career, but not a real starter level. Exactly. And ain't nothing wrong with that. He'll make a good amount of money. He'll probably go open a used car dealership back home or something. I don't know. And ain't nothing wrong with it there. So let's see here. Kind of so we need to trade back and be smart, get picks. Depends on who they like. It really does. Let's see here. Connor says, let's draft 5 edges, and right when their contract's up, we let them go and get another top 10 to top 5 edge. Let's go for it. What the hell?
Yeah.
And that's I he's being facetious there, talking about the Kayvon Thibodeau probably, and the fact that we got him in the fifth overall pick. We got $30 million of Brian Burns. People keep talking about getting more edge rushers. Like, how many edge rushers you need? Why don't you get something out of the ones you got first? Let's see here. It's just a lot of back and forth here. Hold on. Let's see here. Andre says, so Drew and Rob, how are you after what Malik said about the veteran? Is it crazy to trade picks for Stafford and Cup, 3rd, 4th, 5th round for both? Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, you're not getting those two for a 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th.
Yeah, not a shot.
Yeah. If you're getting that, sign me up. Sign me up 100%, because I would take that in a heartbeat. I would take that with just for Stafford. I think Stafford, they'd be smart, the Rams, to just go in full rebuild. I think personally, I don't think you can't rebuild with Stafford his age.
Yeah, he's 37 this year, right?
Yeah, but he'd be a good guy to have as a bridge quarterback for a year or two.
I think so.
If he wanted that role, and I don't think he'd want that role at this point. I think he wants to go somewhere he can win. And I can't think of the team that is just missing a quarterback. Every year it's like, oh, this team had a quarterback. The only scenario I would sit there and say, I'm going to go give you a crazy suggestion. If Darnold goes elsewhere and J.J. McCarthy is thought as not being ready to go, imagine Stafford with the Vikings.
Oh. Listen, if the Rams can finagle that, they're definitely – I'm sorry, if the Vikings can finagle that, they're definitely taking Stafford over Sam.
Well, J.J. McCarthy is rumored to have needed extra surgeries, might not be ready early on. We'll see. Plus, he's a rookie. His best move was hitting the ball off. And Sam Darnold may want a payday. This might be the only chance he ever gets for a payday. I can't blame him.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens there. Let's see here. Hirsch says we need to draft an interior defensive lineman to pair next to Dexter Lawrence. Yeah, we do. Or we need to get one in free agency. But I would say definitely not in the first round. This is a very good draft for defensive linemen, like 2nd to 4th round area. There's a lot of talent. And I think you're to see us get one of them there. So let's see. Blue City Empire Sports. I'm hearing rumors that Sanders went to Joe Shane's house to spend time with him and his family. I hadn't heard of that, but wouldn't shock me. Like I said, they've spent a lot of time with this kid, a lot of time with him, and I don't think there's a chance in hell that if he's on the board, the Giants don't go swoop him up at 3. Yeah. Just saying. Jason said we signed McKinney and didn't burn picks on re-signing walkier players. That's what I hate about drafting Carter. Yeah. Let's see here. Trying to look here. Blue City says, this is my opinion, but I believe Eli Manning should be offensive coordinator for the New York Giants. No. He hasn't been anything in the league yet as far as a coach. I don't like the idea of players just walking in. I'm like, I'm an offensive coordinator. I'm a head coach. Like, unless you're Jeff Saturday and it's all a joke because you're just tanking for a good pick. You know, like, otherwise, no, you don't do that.
Yeah.
That's no. So, let's see here. Jason's WTF. This is a show about missing person show. I have no clue who some of these guys even are. Well, obviously, Jay, you haven't been watching enough then. You've been watching too many YouTube videos and not enough games. These guys were on the team. They were on the team. Let's see here. Oh, I skipped one of the ones I was going to go to actually here. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Connor says, hey, Drew and Roberto, your beers just reminded me I have to manscape tonight. LOL. Let's see here. All right. You know what, guys? We got a lot going on here. It's hour and 17 minutes in, guys. So we are definitely going to call it a night here. I will give a real quick shout out, though, to Big Blue on the Bronx. What's up, man? If you guys haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Like I said, really good content creator for not just the Giants, but New York sports overall. So, like I said, I want to go ahead and give them a shout out there. If you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe for them as well. And while you're at it, hit the like and subscribe for us if you haven't already, too. You know,
that'd be great.
The show there. By doing that, it's free, costs you nothing. You know, like the show, feel free to send a super chat on YouTube. Feel free to go ahead and send a, stars on Facebook. Share the show to a friend, maybe, because we suck at marketing. We need your help, point blank. We suck.
We are terrible.
Terrible. So, but we appreciate you guys for watching anyway with all our crappy marketing. We'll see you guys on Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Oh, hold on. Today's Thursday. What am I thinking it's Monday for? I'm getting thrown for a loop because I started a new job working Monday through Friday, and it just seems weird to me right now. My whole schedule's messed up. But yeah, we'll see you guys on Monday. So have a happy and safe one there. Maybe we'll pop on for something for the Super Bowl at some point, but I'm not going to promise it. We'll see. So
yeah, just make sure you're subscribed this way, get the notifications.
Exactly. Get the notifications and you'll know if we go on at that point there. So, like I said, we'll be back again, though, for you guys then at least Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where hopefully we're just laughing at Eagles fans as opposed to being upset that they're now halfway to our Super Bowl total. We'll see you guys again Monday night. As always, we're live on YouTube, Facebook, X/Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it, Twitch, and of course, Rob's favorite, my link page. And with that, of course, we're also available on the audio podcast platforms the next day on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon, all the big ones there. Again, if you haven't already, hit the like, subscribe there as well. Leave a review on, on Apple Podcasts. Give 5 stars, all the different platforms there. Definitely helps us out. Appreciate you guys for listening as always. Like I said, it's just a little bit of a sad note we're leaving on with Eli not getting the Hall of Fame, but he'll get in. He'll get in eventually.
He'll get in.
Could have been now. But I guess I can try to spin it positive. I don't have a lot of vacation time this year since I started a new job. Maybe next year I can go see him, get inducted to the Hall of Fame. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. So, all right. As always, Giant fans, go G-Man! Go G-Man! G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you.